Hello, my name is Lori Meeker, and welcome to my research projects presentation on the motivation behind coffee versus tea drinking. I began with the research question: do the motivations for drinking coffee differ from those for drinking tea? The statement of my hypothesis claimed that coffee drinkers would primarily be concerned with need-based factors like caffeine and convenience, while tea drinkers would be concerned with want-based factors like relaxation and socialization. To begin this study, I used a convenience sample of 24 people, 11 of whom fell into the 18 to 34 age range, and another 11 who fell into the 35 to 49 range. Participants were recruited from PCC students in our class and the researcher's Instagram. Most participants identified as female at 62.5%, with the next largest selecting non-binary, followed by male. The survey aimed to understand the motivations behind coffee and tea consumption. To achieve this, participants responded to statements about their drinking habits and experiences. The survey was comprised of 15 closed and 4 open-ended questions. A cross-sectional survey design collected data at a single point in time. Participants completed a Google Forms survey, which took approximately 15 minutes to complete. It used both quantitative measures, such as the 5-point Likert scale shown here, and qualitative responses in the form of open-ended questions. The data was analyzed using descriptive and inferential statistics to identify patterns and differences in motivations between coffee and tea drinkers. Several key similarities and differences emerged concerning participants' motivations behind drinking coffee and tea. First, coffee and tea drinkers strongly agreed that caffeine content and beverage quality were very important factors in their choice of drink. Additionally, both groups reported drinking coffee and tea very frequently. However, differences in primary motivations were hinted at when participants were asked directly. Among coffee drinkers, around half said they drink coffee for energy or health benefits, and half of tea drinkers selected as a treat or for pleasure. In terms of preparation habits, tea drinkers were more likely to always make tea at home, while coffee drinkers typically only sometimes made coffee at home. However, while previous quantitative data suggests that coffee and tea drinkers have different incentives, the qualitative data gathered with the survey's open-ended questions deepened the understanding of the participants' motivations. Coffee drinkers stayed on par with previous survey questions, more often than not mentioning the benefits of caffeine, ritual, and dependence, with statements like, "I don't feel like my day has started until I have it." But when looking at the self-reported data for tea, participants emphasized health and medicinal benefits much more frequently than mentions of using it for comfort or pleasure. This data revealed that respondents looked to tea as a need-based tool for healing and betterment. Although one primary question indicated that coffee drinkers do so for need-based reasons and tea drinkers for want-based reasons, the rest of the findings suggest that need-based motivations generally rank higher for both groups. Coffee drinkers frequently emphasize the necessity of starting their day with coffee, and tea drinkers similarly sought out tea's health and medicinal benefits. These results contradict my hypothesis that the groups have distinct motivations for drinking coffee or tea, revealing instead that their primary motivations are similar. A key strength of the research project was the use of open-ended questions, which facilitated a qualitative understanding of participants' intrinsic motivations and personal narratives regarding their coffee and tea consumption. This approach provided rich, detailed insights that quantitative data alone might not capture. Secondly, using segmented questions tailored specifically for coffee and tea drinkers yielded more precise data, improving the clarity and relevance of the study's findings. This method allowed for a focused analysis of each group's specific motivations and preferences. The research project had two notable weaknesses. Errors in data collection from incorrectly labeled survey questions created measurement errors. This enabled confounding variables, introducing systematic error and bias, obscuring the true relationships between the variables being studied. Secondly, several questions were asked of both coffee and tea drinkers simultaneously, diluting the findings and making it harder to draw specific conclusions about each group's motivations. These issues likely introduced response bias and threatened the study's internal validity. Future research should include pilot testing of the survey to identify and correct any confusing or mislabeled questions before full-scale data collection. Researchers should engage experts in survey design to review and refine the questionnaire, ensuring clarity and accuracy in the questions. They should also conduct distinct studies for coffee and tea drinkers to allow for more precise operationalization of variables and a clearer analysis of each group's specific motivations. And lastly, the use of targeted sampling strategies would ensure that each study includes a representative sample of coffee and tea drinkers, enhancing the generalizability of the findings.